Sonia, you've got a story about a man under a tree that's related to Ubuntu. But before we get there, can you tell us what is Ubuntu?
Yes, Ubuntu comes from the Nguni language groups, and if you look at the Zulu and Xhosa meaning of it, it breaks down to Umuntu, Ngumuntu, Ngabantu. A person is a person through other people. I am because you are because we are. So in essence, that is what Ubuntu is. For me, if I am hungry, you are hungry.
Great, and you're known as the Ubuntu girl because you walked around South Africa trying to find modern-day Ubuntu. So tell us the story now around. This is one of the stories on your road trip, right?
Yeah, 351 days. There's a lot of stories, but if somebody asks me the explanation of Ubuntu, I think that this man and this story is the epitome of Ubuntu. One of the host families that I stayed with gave me some money, and I didn't want money. And the woman looked at me and she said, "But I know that you will find something good to do with it."
And so you didn't want money because you actually start off with no money, just with a backpack, your camera, and the roads, basically.
And 100 rand.
And 100 rand. Well, you did 100, yes. Yeah. And you went to knocking on doors just to say, "Here I am. How are you doing today?"
Yes, and yeah.
And so she gave you this.
So she gave me the 100 rand, and so I went and found people who were hungry. And what happened is people actually came up to me and they said, "Sister, I've got nothing to eat. Please, can I have some bread today?" They didn't actually ask me for money, so I'd go to the shop and I'd buy a loaf of bread and some meat and give that to them. And when I had just enough money for one more loaf of bread and a little bit of meat, I actually went to look for somebody who I could then help. And there was this man sitting under a tree, and he just looked completely dejected. And so I walked up to him, and I said to him, "Have you eaten today?" And he said, "No, he hasn't." And his whole body language was slumped. And I sat down with him, and he was one of those guys that he's a bricklayer. And that morning he was waiting for a vehicle to pick up. You know how people stand at the side of the road and
hoping for some work.
Hoping for work for the day, for labor for the day. And he said the guy stopped and the guy looked at him and he knew, this is it, this is my day. I'm going to get some job, I'm going to get work and I can buy food. And but he wasn't quick enough. And there was a guy that was a bit more opportunistic than he was and jumped on the back of the bakkie. And the driver of the bakkie just lifted his shoulders. There was nothing he could do. And he said that he had just been sort of kicked out by his girlfriend because he couldn't provide for the family. And so he sat there and he just said he feels like he's not part of society, he's not making a contribution to society. So I got them, he felt ostracized by society. And I sat there with him and I probably spent about 45 minutes with him. And in those 45 minutes, 3 or 4 different people came up to him and they asked him for food. And there he was with his loaf of bread and his sort of roll of polony. And he just handed over. He didn't say, "Why are you hungry? What do you need to take my food from? For? Nothing like that. He literally just handed it over. And I was amazed. And I sat there and I thought, this is a man that feels ostracized by society. And I think
who doesn't know where his next meal is coming from.
Doesn't know where his next meal is coming from, yet he's prepared to share what he has. And so his spirit stayed with me throughout the journey, and I never got his name, I never got his number, but the lessons that he imparted to me on that day will stay with me forever.
Because that is Ubuntu.
That is, you are hungry, therefore I am hungry.
So let's share what we've got.
And then he had about half a loaf of bread left and some of the meat, and he gave me this big smile and he said, "I'm going to take that home for my child." And
wow. So you're writing the story and a number of others in your book that's going to be coming out in the next couple of months. People want to get hold of you and hear more about the Ubuntu girl and what's happening today in the world of Ubuntu.
I think that they can look on the website. That's probably the best. It has a lot of contact details.
That's www.theubuntuGirl.co.za.
And it's not Abantu or Ubuntu, but
it's UBUNTU.
Yeah, UBUNTU. So it's theUbuntuGirl.co.za.